Okay, step one, uh, getting, getting right into it. Um, Straight up, yeah, ball diff. Okay, so I've already built one. Uh, like I said, I've never built one of these ball diffs before, this particular ball diff. So I thought I'd do that off camera, just to make sure I got it, got my head around it properly. And there's really no dramas with it. There's just a few things you really have to watch out for, and I'll point them out as we go. So first thing, actually, you can see in this illustration here, the cutaway shows this center plate in this gear is offset, and when you're first starting to build it, that the shortest recess needs to come up the top, needs to be up the top. Then you need your one side of your what they're calling a pressure plate, and a thrust washer, and of course your grease. Now don't be shy with the grease. They give you two of these. I didn't quite use one on the other diff, but I've got a little bit left here. Might sound like I'm explaining how to build a ball diff like I've been doing them for bloody years, which I haven't. Like I said, that was the first one in nearly 20 years. But I'm just pointing out things that I found that can probably make things easier for you. So our washer is on our pressure plate. I'm just trying to be a little bit liberal with the grease. It will get moved around once the differential's all together. Right, so a nice covering of grease there. Now we can actually, what I might do, I didn't do this on the other diff. On the other diff I came in and put grease in the holes before inserting the ball bearing, but I only did it on one side, thinking, oh, there's plenty of grease on that washer anyway, so, but I might do it on both sides this time. And just a tiny dab of grease in those holes. These little, hey, not even in shot, could have told me that. Little Zach in the background here watching the phone, nothing's happening on it. You didn't even tell me. Some producer you are, mate. Alright. Hey?
Yeah, add a shot again.
Thank you. I'm not really watching the camera, I'm trying to watch what I'm doing, so this is my area here where I'm in shot, so this is obviously a different camera angle for us. I'm probably using way too much grease here. I might end up running out, I hope not. Okay, so I'll just put the that part away for a second. Now these ball bearings, be extra careful. Tweezers. The bearings that go into this main gear are your 3mm bearings, and the bearings that go into your thrust disc are those tiny little 1/16 of an inch bearings. And I counted them, and they give you one, or in this kit they gave you one spare bearing, so try not to lose them. So I found the easiest way for me anyway. I'm fairly shaky when it comes to trying to control small parts like this. I found the easiest way for me, can you see? Yep. Just grab one of your bearings with your tweezers and just use, I'm just using a toothpick, but use something non-magnetic. You see here the tweezers are, you see there the tweezers are just picking up the ball bearings because they're slightly magnetic. And if you're trying to set these bearings into the plastic with something magnetic, they could just be pulled back out and flung across the room and lost forever. So I'm just using a toothpick just so that nothing silly like that happens. Spin that around, 2 more to go, and you actually get 2 spare 3mm bearings, so that's pretty handy. So you get 1 spare per diff. I might have miscounted with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, you only get 1 spare on the small ones. Okay. So that's how I installed those 3mm balls. Now that pressure plate can go back underneath that gear. Make sure all those balls are sitting in their sockets. Now we need to grease up the other pressure plate. It's kind of shaped like a UFO. And another washer. I'm not actually saying what they call these washers. I'm just calling them thrust washers. These big ones anyway. Alright, so grease on your pressure plate. Yeah. Still getting used to this different camera angle. Bit of grease on the thrust washer. Yeah. I'll just do it here because that's where I'm in shop. A bit more grease on that one. And this thrust washer, I'm probably right in the way here, but I found having tweezers to help install some of the parts really did help. So now they're asking you to temporarily put this drive cup with the pin through, and as you're doing this, just be careful you don't drop that pressure plate out as you're picking it up. Not that it will be that much of a big deal, but you could end up losing some of the small parts and fun stuff like that. So you can see here in the manual it actually said to turn upside down, so that's exactly what we did. So now the side with our hex is facing up. Now we have this stack of springs and thrust washers and thrust balls to go in, and then it gets screwed together with this little funny looking cap screw. It's not really a cap screw, but that's what I'm calling it. So these discs here, they're actually springs. So I can't see them in my tray. So they're not a flat standard washer, and they're not even a thrust washer. Can you see a bit of a curve? It's going this way. Actually, if I get that's a 4mm one. If I get the 5mm one, if it'll focus, there's just a slight curve on those discs. They're actually springs. So what they're designed to do is sit together in pairs like this, and they compress when under tension, and it's basically a spring washer. Okay, so first up we need 2 of the 4mm discs. Now they, like I said, they have to go together in opposing directions, and picking them up you can actually feel, bloody dog hair, you can actually feel which way they're facing. So that one, we'll call it a cup shape, so that cup wants to go up, this cup wants to go down, and that's those 2. And now next one is a 6mm washer. They're calling it a thrust washer, and they're asking you to grease it up. So again, your tweezers come in handy, just so you can get all around it, and without letting it go, spin it around, grease on the other side, and then just use the spike from the drive cup. We'll hook it around there and drop it in like that. And now comes your actual ball thrust washer turnout thingy. Right, this one I didn't really have trouble with it. It was just small and fiddly. Now there's a particular way that this plastic piece has to go. There's one way it needs to go up. That's because the holes for the bearings, they're bigger on one side than the other, and you can sort of flip it back and forth and have a look, and it'll become quite obvious which side's which. But also, if you have a look at this side, if we get it in the right light, you'll see those mouldings in between each hole. Yeah, you see it there. Well, that's not on the other side. The other side looks like it's been machined actually, but that's just part of the moulding. So the side with the with those bits in it there in between the holes, that side goes up. So what I'm going to do is actually grease up this part and then drop all the balls into the holes.
Bit up.
Sorry, mate. Right, now I'm actually going to get rid of the manual for a second, because as you know, we hate getting grease on the manual. We don't like dirty manuals. So now comes the tricky part, and this is also where your something non-ferrous or non-magnetic comes in handy. We got a bit more of a zoom there. Can we go any more? No.
Yeah.
Just to get a bit of a better look. So, picking up one of these tiny little 1/16 of an inch bearings and just dropping it in the hole like that, very carefully, especially someone like me who shakes a lot, and just one by one dropping them into each hole. If you don't have anything magnetic, you could use the grease itself to actually bit of grease on the stick. It'll actually stick to the ball and pick the ball up. Okay, so if you don't have anything magnetic, don't panic, you can still get it done. And now that ball is sticking to my finger because it's got grease on it. Alright, and the manual is let me go back to zoom, please. Alright, so the manual is telling you to press these bearings in with your hex drive. With the other diff, I didn't feel them actually clicking in or anything like that, but that's what it says to do, so that's what we're doing. They do press in further. Now that I'm touching it, I've got balls falling out everywhere. It's a bit hard to talk about this diff without it sounding naughty. Alright, so we have our ball thrust. I'm just going to drop that into our assembly like that. Now I'll just get a rag, wipe up this little bit of grease so I can move the manual back over so you can follow. Now the rest is basically just another thrust washer, which is your MA10, which is a 5mm. It's actually the same dimensions except for the width. Same dimensions as your standard 1150 bearing. So one of them with some grease. Again, I'm just going to hold it in my tweezers, apply some grease, put it over the pin, and just drop it right in there. Give it a bit of a press down. Now we have 3 more of these disc springs. Now you have to note the direction they want you to put them in. So again, I'm going to call it the cup, which is the concave side of the disc. Your first one goes down against that thrust washer. I'm not putting any grease on, it actually doesn't tell you to, but that screw that goes through, you grease that up, so that should take care of that. Now your next one, the cup has to face up, like that. And the third one, your cup faces down, so those two last springs oppose each other. And now it's time to install our screw. This step screw, shank screw, whatever you want to call it. This is just the tension screw for your ball diff. So, grease that old boy. Drop that over the pin. Notice I'm not actually greasing that pin up just yet because that's got to come back out anyway, and that gets greased up in the next step. So that screw basically just goes through all of these 5mm springs and washers and screws into something, that pressure plate I think, screws into something, pulls it all together, makes it tight. So I just used a, it's telling you to use your hex wrench to hold that drive cup, so I'm just using the Tamiya driver, just holding that, and with the box wrench just coming in. And it might take you a little bit to line everything up, so we are not lining up with all the holes, so I'm just going to lay it down flat. And I just felt it starting to bite there, but it's binding on something, so I'm just giving it a bit of a spin back and forth, and yep, that's cleared wherever it was caught up on. And then we just screw it up. Now it's saying fully screw in, so let's fully screw it in, I guess, until it wants to stop. Now that feels very tight, and it also feels grainy. The last one did too. I don't know if that's how they're supposed to feel. I was thinking ball disc was supposed to be like super smooth. If we just back that off a bit, it does feel better. So you can see that differential working, and it's nice. Give that another little bit of a notch up. And the only other thing we need to install, which pretty much looks like it just sits there, is the other half of that drive plate, which your other drive cup goes into. There are our two ball diffs assembled. Like I said, this part just sits there for now until it gets actually installed into, where are we, into the gearbox housing. So we'll get all these parts out and get this well, one of these differentials anyway. We'll put one aside for now, and we'll get one installed into this rear transmission, and that's going to be it for this part 2 of the top force build, because like I said, I knew this ball diff would probably take up a little bit of time, and I really wanted to explain a few different things that I found with it anyway. Like I said, I haven't really seen any like detailed videos on these cars, on the top force, so we're just trying our best to help you out a little bit better. So I'm going to snap my fingers, we'll have all these parts out and ready to go. So we've got everything ready for our installation of our rear differential. So let me just bring you out a bit here. Since there's no real small parts anymore, you can we can zoom out for you. So once again, it says note direction, and it says to apply synthetic rubber cement to the out drives. Now I did ask the question on Four Boys RC, and both Madge Smith and Big Phil did answer. Thanks guys. And yeah, they sort of confirmed what I was thinking anyway, but it's basically the rubber cement is pretty much just to hold in the drive cups during assembly, because once the dog bones go in, they literally can't fall out, can they? You might get a bit of, I guess we'll find out, but you might get a bit of like movement in and out once everything's installed, but I guess you can put some rubber O-rings in there like most of the other kits and fine tune that. So let's get this differential in, and I am just going to put a bit of grease in that hole there just to grease up that center pin. We've already fitted our ball bearings to the outdrives. There's that one, and then there's that one. That did feel pretty good actually. So grease on the gear itself. Yeah, like I said, it does say note directions, so make sure your large pressure plate is facing away from you when you install it in the actual housing. Now we've actually got all the parts together ready to complete step 4, which completes the A bag, so we're actually going to do that in this video. So those bearings just slide into that housing like that, and this cover plate sort of picks up on those holes where the bearings slid into. Okay, so that's our cover on. We just need our screwdriver and 4 screws. This can get screwed up, and then the next step, we have to install our motor, which obviously we're using the Tamiya BZ, which should get this car poking along just nicely. I've actually already fitted the pinion and the motor plate, and again, when the aluminium motor plate turns up, we're going to swap that over. And I've positioned the motor obviously in the 21 tooth pinion holes, which we come over here, shows you which holes to line up your motor screws, but I've also positioned it in such a way that you'll still see the Superstock sticker. There's a lot of S's. Kenny Callender would have a ball. So you obviously can't see what I'm doing. I'm just screwing in screws. Careful you don't drop your drive cups out and let them go flying across the floor. So this motor plate, the BZ is covered, which is a pity, but you can still see the Superstock and the blue and the red. So it still kind of looks pretty. So just a couple of screws and a couple of washers. A couple of these screws. I don't know how long this video is going to be by the time we edit it down. We're up to 27 minutes at the moment, and there's a fair bit of stuff to cut out, so we might be able to stick to our 20 minutes or so. Okay, so that brings us to the end of bag A. Does it? Why are there so many screws left over? Just spares, maybe, hopefully. Right, so here is our motor installed, our rear differential installed. Next step, which is bag B, which takes us from step 5 to 12, which I don't think we're going to get all those done in a video, but that will be the next video, which is our rear differential gears, and we start doing suspension components on the rear end. So that should be really cool. And that diff is super smooth in there with those bearings. Well, that's it for that one. Hope that was informative about that ball diff, in case you've never done one before. just like me. So thanks for watching, thanks for your support. That super stock looks super sexy in there. We'll see you on the next one.